welcome to Movie Ticket Stub, where we'll be talking about movie-related topics and the movie theater going experience. This week, we're going to be talking about The Fall Guy, the 2024 action comedy movie starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, based on the TV show from the 80s. I didn't realize it was based on a TV show, but that was good information to know. And it's not like it had a lot of bearing on my actual experience watching it, which I definitely appreciate. So today I am joined by camera operator and podcast host Bridget LaMonica. Bridget, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you inviting me onto this podcast, especially to talk about one of my nerdy passions, which is actually going to the movie theater.
Hmm.
Like you said, I'm a camera operator. I work on movies, TV shows, probably nothing anyone's ever heard of. I feel like most of my friends say the same thing a lot of times. I work in movies and TV, but you'll never watch anything I've done. There's a lot of content out there.
There very much is, and more importantly, there's an audience and a place for all of them. So
Indeed.
that's that's awesome. Any, uh, anything that you want to plug right off the bat, like anything that is available to watch, or you're also a podcast host as well. Do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about that and plug that as well?
Yes, of course. Thank you for teeing that up.
Hmm.
So yeah, I also have a podcast. It's called Lights Camera Remake, and it's where myself and my co-host Erica Strout, we talk about films and their remakes or their sequels, and we basically talk about the pursuit of originality in Hollywood. It's a tired adage that people say Hollywood has lost all creativity. They have no new ideas. And sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes we can surprise people with our selections. So it's really interesting that we chose Fall Guy because Fall Guy is a remake,
Hmm.
but I watched it in a vacuum without having seen the series from the 80s, and that did not ruin my enjoyment of it.
Yep, I am
Yeah.
in the same boat as you. Kind of similar to how I felt the first time I saw Mission Impossible. I didn't realize that that was based on a TV show as well. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the TV show, minus, for in Mission Impossible's case, the theme song. That's about it.
Hmm.
But and maybe some ancillary characters. But overall, I didn't I didn't feel lost, or I didn't feel anything about this that I thought I was missing out by not seeing the movie, which I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate, because there have been plenty of times when I did feel that way if there's a movie based on an existing IP and I'm
Hmm.
like, I have no idea what's going on. I assume
Yeah.
that this joke or this Easter egg is for the fans. I'm
Hmm.
not one of them, and now I just feel like I'm missing out. And I
Yes.
did not feel that way at all with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're going to do a remake and do it well, you need to do it so that it can be watched as itself. You don't need
Mhm.
any other reference material. There's no the book was better because it had all this stuff. You need to read the book to understand this. You need to see the original series to see this. It should exist in a vacuum, but also have those little nostalgia bits for the original fans. But,
Mhm.
not at expense of a story that you can understand and follow.
Right. Well, and the other thing, and I'm so glad that you mentioned, like originality in Hollywood
Hmm.
right now, is that part of the problem with originality in Hollywood right now is not that there's nothing out there. It's that we, as the audience, general audience, we don't go watch them. And
This is
that's the big problem, is that,
yeah.
hey, if we're wondering why there's no originality to Hollywood, and then yet if you look at all of your movie ticket stubs per se, and you see that the last couple movies you saw were Captain America, Paddington 3,
Hmm.
and what, Snow White, it's like,
Hmm.
well, I see what part of the issue is, because you're not going to seek, and you're not looking to expand and see some of these original stories or anything like that. And that's probably why you're complaining that that's part of it. We are part of the problem,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and it is what it is. We can't fix that too much, but hey, it
Yeah.
sucks, but hey, it is what it is, right?
The movie business at the end of the day is still a business.
Hmm.
So they're going to go where they assume the money is, and that's why IP is used so often and it existing thing, whether it's a book, a previous movie, a live action version of a animated film. That's why they go to that stuff because there's already a built-in audience. But if you're upset, I've said this before, if you're upset about there not being originality, go to some indie films.
Mhm.
Go to something completely new. And word of mouth makes a difference. Like when Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, that was a huge success because of word of mouth, because people went to see a weird movie, they didn't know what it was, and they came out raving about it to their friends, and it became a sensation. And that was an original story. As far as I know, it wasn't based on anything else.
It definitely wasn't based on anything else. And I'm not gonna lie, also, when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, nope, I'm out. I can't
I
do another multiverse
I,
story.
I get
It
it.
just looked too much. But you're right, it was that word of mouth that eventually got me in the theaters, and I was just blown away by
Hmm.
by everything. It had literally everything that I could ask for. I laughed, I cried, I thought a lot about different things, and at that point, that's when I look at a situation and I think, this is why I go to the movies, right? I want to be entertained first and foremost, but also I want to have different feelings towards movies.
Hmm.
I want to be challenged a little bit with the way that I think about stuff. And I get it. There's a lot of people out there when they go to the movies, they just want to be entertained. It is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's people out there that they want more out of their movie going
Hmm.
experience, and there's also nothing wrong with that. And there's plenty of movies out there that could possibly do that for people.
A quick story. I won't hold you up,
Sure.
but we were I was working on a TV show at the time when that movie came out, and we were all tired of working on this TV show. I'm not going to say what it was, but I'm sure you haven't seen it. But it was the camera department, the grip department, several other crew members were all like, "Let's go to the movies. There's this weird movie called Everything Everywhere," and we all went together and had a great experience. And the very next day, I bought packages of googly eyes and I put them
Mhm.
on the cameras, and nobody had me take them off. I left them on the cameras. They were on for the entire 8 week shoot, and they stayed on. I have a camera cart, a cart that I build to transport gear from place to place. The googly eyes are still on my cart. They never came
Nice.
off, and now that's become like my signature.
That's awesome. That's that's fantastic.
Mhm.
I remember I have a pair of the hot dog finger gloves.
Oh
Um,
no.
and have I ever used them again? No, but I have them, and I love the movie that much that I bought a pair. I contributed
Hmm.
to something beyond just going to watch the movie and showering it with as much praise as possible. But yeah, that's definitely a great one, and that's one that I'm definitely looking forward to talking about on the show at some point. And if that's something that you would like to come back on and talk about as well, we'll talk about that a little bit too. So,
Hmm.
um, before we get into the Fall Guy, you mentioned that the movie theater going experience is something that you enjoy and you enjoy talking about. So why don't we start with this? Is Do you prefer to watch everything in a movie theater? Or there's certain movies that you're like, I think I'm good watching it at home.
I'm just like everybody else, I think. There's certain movies where I'm like, I'll wait till I can rent it. I'll wait till it shows up on a streaming service. But there's other movies where you really want the movie theater experience. And I think a great example is Dune because it's got those giant vistas and like you just oh my God, the landscape photography alone, but also like the soundscape and having that soundtrack just wash over you is a great example of a movie I really had to see in the movie theater. Whereas some other films, I'd be like, you know what, I'll wait till it's on streaming, especially if it doesn't like hit me as something that's going to be really really exciting.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I fall victim to that too.
I mean, I feel like the answer to that should always be long answer short. It depends, because there are
Hmm.
some movies that will hit you in a certain way and that will compel you to want to go watch it right away. And there's some that you sit back and you just kind of wait to see what the reviews are like, or seeing if something catches your attention with it, and then you make a decision from there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of figuring out if that's something that you want to find time to go to the theaters and also spend the money to do it, because going to the theaters isn't cheap anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, one could argue that it was never cheap, but at the same time, it's way more expensive, especially if you don't want to go by yourself, which I've gone to the theaters by myself plenty of times. I don't mind going by myself, but I also have two daughters, and just even taking them sometimes can be a little tricky as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is much, much more expensive to go to the movies now than it was back in the day.
Back in
I
the
mean,
day,
I
yeah.
remember like, oh man, $9 movie ticket, how terrible. And then like regularly they're like $20 in Atlanta. I
Mhm.
mean, that's just a regular showing. Forget adding 3D or IMAX or any of the special stuff.
Right, right. So, what do you have a particular movie theater chain, or is there a specific theater that you typically go to when you do want to go watch a movie?
Yeah, well, I go with a small group of friends. We go regularly to the movies together, and because we all live in different areas, we kind of centralize in Atlantic Station, which is in Atlanta. We go to the Regal Cinema there, and it's a nice movie theater. It's fine. It's fine. It's expensive, but that one's just convenient because of location, and they usually have a good selection of movies. But if I were to there's other movie theaters too that have been nice, and there's some independent ones. So there's the Plaza Theater, which is wonderful for the indie community. If you filmed something, they will show it. Like, hey, you
Hmm.
want to show your film in a theater? Here you go. And they show old movies. I saw a few classic films there that I'd never seen before, and they do like film festivals and things. And then there's also the Terra Theater, another independent chain, which is only like two screens, I think. It's very small, but it's like there's something heartfelt about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's an atmosphere about going to a theater that only has like a couple screens where
Hmm.
that's the primary focus. It feels like there is history here, and it's always a lot of fun going to a theater like that. So when it comes to your movie theater going experience, what is usually the thing that you look for the most when it comes to a theater? Is it availability of different titles? Does distance matter the most to you? I know you
Mm.
said that you go with a typical group of friends. Um,
Hmm.
and I get that the answer is probably it depends, but do you have something in particular that you look for in a movie theater before you're like, yep, okay, I will go here and that's that.
Yeah, I think it's just going to come down to convenience for the most part. I have talked to some of my friends about going to some more of the indie theaters a little more often, so I'd like to try to do that more. But yeah, honestly, it was just convenience because we lived in all different parts outside of Atlanta or inside of Atlanta, and we picked a theater that was convenient because there was plenty of parking and there's restaurants right down the street to walk to and have dinner afterwards. So that's what I looked for.
And when it comes to, so I live in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and
Hmm.
around here there's parking just in a giant parking lot. That's no big deal. When I lived in LA for 2 years, you have to be mindful of the parking situation. You have to be mindful of a lot of
Hmm.
different things. So I very much empathize with that. I don't miss it, but sometimes I do miss it as well because, you know, it's just there's more options and such. So when it comes to going to the movies, do you have a particular group of snacks or food or drinks that you typically like to have when you are going to the theaters?
Okay, if I'm splurging and actually buying snacks and not sneaking them in, I like a Sprite, the smallest size, which is usually about yay big. I like either Reese's Pieces,
Oh,
I like Bunch of Crunch.
mhm.
I love my chocolate, and also I will steal one or two handfuls of popcorn from my friend next to me.
Ah, okay. Um, I'm so happy that you said Bunch of Crunch because I'm also a firm believer in Bunch of Crunch is definitely among one of the higher up movie theater candies. And so many people are like, no, that's
Yeah.
not. And it makes me sad because Bunch of Crunch slash Nestle Crunch is very underrated now. I feel like a lot of people are like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm so happy that you said that. So what like any others? You mentioned candy and you mentioned popcorn. Would you go with any other food or if it was available to you? Or also, here's another question.
Oh.
Alcohol at the movie
Hmm.
theaters is starting to become more popular as well.
Hmm.
So is alcohol something that you would want to have at a movie theater?
I think as a business model, I think it's good for the movie theaters to try new things. Like there's more dining ones where they have full menus, they have full bars. I don't often take advantage of the bar thing. I think I did once. It was kind of cute. It had a themed drink for the whatever movie we were seeing at that time. But I did really like the movie theater where you could order at your seat and then somebody just brings you your pretzel sticks and cheese
See, I would
or your burger or whatever.
I would love that. Every other theater around me, you have to get up and go.
Okay, yeah.
I
They
look,
should do it. It's a way to
it,
keep butts in seats, right?
it's definitely not the end of the world. It is the first world of first world
Yeah.
problems, but it's still something that it would just be super nice and convenient that it, like, especially if you order something and it's really close to showtime and you're not sure how long it's going to take, you don't want to risk missing potentially something in the theaters, or missing a trailer of some type. And that's my next question for you, is that the pre-show entertainment, are you good with trailers, or are you good with, or do you not want to see any frames of a movie and you want to go into it, fresh and with your own perception beforehand?
Okay, I generally love trailers. Often think sometimes the trailer to a movie is going to be better than the actual movie because they put all the best stuff in it. It's
Mhm.
all quippy and fun and over, and I might not want to see that spy movie later. But sometimes the trailer is great. It sometimes gets me excited for stuff that's coming up that I may or may not know was coming. But I like them for the most part. But I hate that a lot of trailers are dumbing down and telling us exactly what the entire movie is. And there's a surprise villain. Like, okay, yeah, but why did you give it away now?
Why did you
Like,
give it away now?
that's terrible.
I look back and I think at some movie trailers recently where I look at Thor Ragnarok, for example. It's like, how great would that have been if they would have kept the Incredible Hulk in their back pocket and
A
just
secret,
let
yeah.
it happen? But we can't,
We
because
can't do that.
Thor alone apparently isn't enough of a draw, which is too bad,
Hmm.
because he definitely is. But I guess at the time they were hoping that, hey, if we could get more people in seats with a World War Hulk, centric storyline,
Mm,
then maybe we'll get more people to show up. But
I think I
like,
see that, yeah.
so, and you're right. I definitely do see that with trailers, as well. Is that, okay, did we need to show every single thing? I hope that there's something else here that
Yeah,
will
sometimes, yeah.
cause me to want to actually go to the movies. So I'm so happy that you said that the trailers are, need to,
We need
just,
improvement.
we need improvement. We just need to get excited about the movie.
Yeah.
That should be enough. So, do you have a movie theater hot take in terms of anything that you think about the movie theater going
Mhm.
experience, or anything about just movie theaters in general that you think is a bit of a hot take?
Hot take. Well, okay, if I could piggyback off of trailers, the last two movies I saw, a couple of friends next to me were checking their watches because the trailers went on so long. It was like almost 40 minutes of trailers before like Wicked or something. We're like, this is a 3-hour movie we're going into. Can we not?
Yeah.
And yeah, so maybe less on the number of trailers going in. If your showtime is at 7, I'm expecting it to start around 7, or give me 20 minutes of trailers if you have to. That's
Hmm.
fine. I like them, but let's get into it. I have
Yeah.
other things to do. But yeah, I don't know if I have another hot take. Can I talk about just the people who go to the movie
Yeah. Oh,
theater?
yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
well, then I have a hot take.
Okay.
I
Go for
want
it.
I want a device installed in the theater as soon as you walk in that shuts off everybody's cell phone.
Oh, thank God. Yes. I do. I do fully endorse and support that, as something that needs to happen at theaters. Or maybe another bit of a hot take. I think movie theaters just need to do a better job of enforcing
Mm,
the no cell phones thing. And I also do get it from a movie theater standpoint. I've got plenty of friends who've worked in movie theaters, and it is the worst when they have to go in and they have to yell at somebody for something that they're doing in the movie theaters. And
Yeah.
I feel like COVID has kind of warped people's sense of just general decorum and behavior lately. You know, you look at things that are going on at things like restaurants or even like airplanes. Movie
Hmm.
theaters are not immune to that,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And it stinks, but also, we as the movie theater going audience, we're not there to babysit, we're not there to push or anything like that. Um, so so yeah, that's a great take. I would fully endorse and support that. I would even like I wouldn't go so far as to like give up my phone during like at the movies, like, hey, check it in or anything like that. But I definitely put my phone on silent, and
Hmm.
unless like it's an emergency, because the
Yeah,
what
that there's obviously a reason why some people have their phone on, like a nurse or somebody who's on call. I get
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But like I see people scrolling social media, that bright ass screen right in front of me. Oh, I said ass. There we go.
There we go.
Little PG-13.
Check.
Um yeah, so like that bright screen is blinding in that dark theater. And also it's just rude. Like for one thing, we're on our phones too much as it is. Let's just put it down for 2 hours. Like it's so freeing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So that's a great take and a great idea for people to just be like, hey, if you're here to watch a movie, watch the movie. You don't,
Yeah,
the social media stuff is going to be there when the movie's over. So you'll be all good with that.
right.
So a couple other questions before we get into the Fall Guy. So, what is the movie that you've seen the most times in theaters?
Ooh, let's see. I'm sure when I was little, I probably saw The Lion King a few times because I was like obsessed with it. But in recent history, don't make fun.
Oh no, no, I will never make fun of anybody's movie theater
I
choices.
saw I saw Spider-Man No Way Home 3 times in the movie theater.
I mean,
One was separated by at least a year. They re-released it with new footage, so I went with a group of people, and that was on $3 ticket day, which was amazing.
very nice.
So yes, I saw that 3 times.
So yes, my answer is Beauty and the Beast. I saw
Oh
Beauty and the Beast
yeah.
7 times in theaters as a
Oh
kid.
my God.
And
Yes.
uh, you know, all of those Disney movies, that's pretty high up there, especially when some of there were some Disney movies during that time. They did double features of things. So like Aladdin and the Mighty Ducks was like a big one as well. And as somebody who played hockey growing up, and I had an older sister as well, and she loved Disney princesses, that was just the perfect way for like my mom or dad to be like, hey, best of both worlds. We're not going to have to choose. We'll just go and spend all
Mm.
day at the theater. Yay. And yeah, mainly all of mine are Disney movies. So all good with that. Um, if there's one thing that you want to see in a movie theater going forward, minus the device that turns off people's cell phones or at least silences them or blocks reception to them, is there anything else in particular that you want to see in movie theaters going forward?
Are we talking technology? Are we talking infrastructure? Like where should we go with this?
We are talking about any and everything. So it could be conceptual, it can be policy based, it can be
Mm.
uh, infrastructure, it could be anything that you want.
Yeah, I agree that movie theaters need to diversify to get people back in seats to try different things, try the catering thing, try the different types of screens and stuff. But really, I think what would help the most is if they found a way to make the ticket prices less. And
Mhm.
I know that probably comes down on the Producers Association. It probably comes down on the AMPTP and probably not the movie theater chains themselves. But that $3 movie ticket day, that was the first time I saw a movie theater full in years. And it was amazing, the energy in that room. So, like, if they found a way to do more discount tickets or something like that, I feel like that would really help the industry.
Yeah, we around here Tuesdays is a big day that they do discounted tickets, and it started out as
Hmm.
$5 tickets, and then it became $6 tickets, and now it's $7 tickets. But they're they're at least trying
Okay.
it, so I give them all the credit in the world for that. And then also there's certain movies that they do show where they're only like $5, and I'm all for doing that as well. They could be older movies or
Yeah.
it could be re-release of movies. I'm all for doing things like that as well, just as a bit of like counter programming to anything that's out there right now, or something that even piggybacks off of that. So when they released like for example, Paddington 3, they were also showing Paddington 1 and 2 just at like discounted prices,
Oh, that's
like
a good idea.
only for like a couple showings. And I'm cool with that. That's fun. But kind of like in addition to that, I do know that movie theaters make a ton of money off concessions as well. And even the price of concessions is really high too. So
Yeah,
just
that'll make my decision for me. I'm hungry. I'm not that hungry.
I'm not that hungry. Or kind of like what you talked about before, the difference in price of concessions is the difference between me sneaking in the food or me just buying one or two things
I know I'm bad.
instead.
But
So
yeah, they
we
do
we all
yeah,
we all do it. It's all good.
yeah. And I do notice that most movie theaters do have like a discount Tuesday, which is great. But like for the average working person, they probably can't get out on a Tuesday. A lot of times these are during the day. So for me, who has a unpredictable schedule, cool. But for
Mhm.
the average person, maybe not so cool.
Average person, and also I have two kids as well, and I have two kids, a day job, and then I podcast for a hobby, which
Hmm.
I don't know if you know this, takes up a lot of time as well. So it's, between recording, editing, and all that stuff. Yeah, it takes time. And also, what am I gonna do with my kids at a movie theater full of like other kids on a Tuesday night when they have to go to school the next day as
Right.
well? I can't do that. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to
It's a
because
struggle. It's a struggle when you're balancing life. So yeah. So I
yeah,
think that would help.
yeah. And last question I have for you before we get into the Fall Guy, because this would be a movie that would fall into this category. Is there any movie that you saw that you wish you saw in the theaters first?
Ooh, oh my. I'm sure there's something. Oh, I wish I came prepared.
Oh, that's my fault for not
Y-
sending you
That's
the
okay.
outline before.
Do you have one? Then maybe I'll think of
I have
something.
a couple that I could shout out to you
Okay.
because in the 2010s, I didn't go to the movie theaters as much because I was getting my master's and, I had to travel a little bit for work. And by travel, I mean go from the northern suburbs to the city. And that took up a lot of time. But there were a handful of MCU movies that I didn't get a chance to see in theaters, and it really bummed me out. One that you mentioned, I didn't see the original Dune in theaters,
Hmm.
and that sucked for me because I saw it. That was another one, actually. Ironically enough, I saw it on a plane, and I was like, I'm not making the same mistake again. So I saw Dune 2, uh, Dune Part 2. Sorry, I want to make sure that I'm saying the proper name of it. I saw it in theaters, and I was like, I really wish I could have saw the first one in theaters as well. And yeah, I think those were a couple that I could shout out right now as movies that I wish I could have saw in theaters. And
Okay. Yeah.
understanding full well that there are certain movies out there that, yeah, you're not going to get a chance to see them in theaters because they came out like a long time ago. I would have loved to have seen The Godfather in theaters
Oh,
or Pulp
yeah.
Fiction, but I wasn't old enough to go see Pulp Fiction in theaters. Or my dad was at least responsible enough to say, "Hey, I'm not taking you to this movie," and I wasn't alive when The Godfather was out, so that can also be a potential option as well.
Okay, so old option that I wasn't alive for and modern options. So you gave me time to think. Back to the Future. I would have loved to see that in the movie theater. And every year or every time they do a re-release in the theater, I keep missing it. Every time I find out like a week after it happened, and I would love to see that in the theater. I've seen Jaws in the movie theater. That's a great experience. It so holds up. And then as a modern example, I didn't see Baby Driver until I got the DVD like on sale. And then I was like, this movie's great.
Mhm.
Why didn't I see this in the theater?
Baby Driver was another one that I didn't go see
Mhm.
in theaters as well, and yeah, I would definitely agree with that because there's a lot of things in that lend itself to a better experience in a movie theater. And I get it. There are a lot of people out there who have amazing home setups that, it it would be still a great experience where you still have really good sound and you still have a really comfy seat and you don't have to worry about other people around you who are on their phone scrolling TikTok or trying to, God forbid, film like part of the movie for TikTok or anything like that. But it still doesn't change the fact that going to the theaters is a communal experience. You're sharing this experience with other people, and also it's just in a much grander scale than going to watch something in your home environment.
Yeah.
So Baby Driver is definitely a good call with that. Plus, also, I would support anything that Edgar Wright would do as well. So I'm all good with that. All right, let's move on to the Fall Guy. So you picked the Fall Guy for the movie that you wanted to talk about from your movie theater going experience, and I understand that you have a story of like who you went to go see it with. So would you care to share? I'm not looking for like specifics or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like who are the people? What were their heights? What's their blood type? Different things like that.
Oh
Just
yeah, just the
you
basics.
Oh yeah, just the basics that one like anyone would ask about,
Yeah.
ask on a podcast. But you went to go see The Fall Guy with a particular group of people.
I did. So I was invited to a special preview showing, specifically for film people. It was presented by a bunch of stunt people, including there was one stunt man who did work on the film. Don't ask me his name. I'm terrible with
No, it's
names,
all
but there was
good.
a stunt man who did work on the film, but it was filmed in Australia, so it's amazing we even had one. But a ton of the attendees were stunt people in Atlanta. They've worked on Avengers, they've worked on like all these big movies here. There was a group of my friends. We had some camera people there as well. There was a couple of actresses. There was a bunch of local talent who are all very, good at their craft. But what was cool is they were coming in. Some of them were dressed up in the stunt gear with the hard
Nice.
packs and the turtleback shell one that they use if they like land on their back. And it was cool to see that in person because I haven't worked on anything that's used like heavy stunts before.
Hmm.
And it was neat to see. But also just like being in the theater with that group of people, like you could feel it in the air. Anytime there was an inside joke on the screen about film production, we all laughed the hardest. And I don't think the average viewer would always get like why switching to two on the walkie is hilarious that they're having this personal conversation because if most people are on their own channel and then they say, "Hey, can you switch to two?" Everyone who heard that on the walkie is also switching it to two so they can listen in on your
Yeah, of
conversation.
course. Of course.
So
Yeah.
there was a lot of inside jokes and just like all the little huzzah like stunts. We don't get an Oscar, but look at us do the thing, save the day. That was a really cool experience to be with that group of people and see that movie.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome time. Atmosphere when it comes to a movie theater definitely matters because there's certain movies that you go with a certain group of people and you know that you're there sharing the same experience. I look at movies like Rocky Horror Picture Show where you see everybody is just in it to win it. They're singing along. I've got mixed feelings about audience participation movies where people are singing along too.
Hmm.
Even though when I saw Wicked, there's a small part of me that's like, why is nobody else singing with me? But hey, it is what it is. But um, even when you have somebody that understands just a lot of the nuances of the jokes and the industry lingo, I guess, for the lack of a better word, with the Fall Guy, that kind of lends itself to like why a community experience like that is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you got to go with all of those people. Um, I unfortunately didn't get to see the Fall Guy in theater, and that stinks because I got to see it on a tiny screen on an airplane, and
Oh.
it's just not the same because I laughed a lot. It was a lot of fun, and some of those big bombastic stunts and those moments didn't hit as hard, unfortunately,
Mm.
on that tiny screen and in my cheap airline headphones that they give you just didn't resonate with me as much as I hoped that it would. But that's on me because I didn't get a chance to go see it in theaters last year. And judging by its box office performance, not a lot of people did either, and that's too
So
bad
dis
because you would have thought that Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt would be draw enough for
hmm.
people. Plus, also it's a big action comedy movie, which that lends itself to kind of just be something that people would want to experience in the theater. And I don't know what happened with some of those movies early on in the summer last year, but between that and Furiosa, like
They
I'll
didn't,
never
yeah.
forget the movie theater community for letting down those two movies and not, pushing them to better box office glory.
From what I remember, they pulled them out of the theater so quick. And it was like 2 weeks they were in the theater. They didn't give them time to build the word of mouth that they could have had. Because I saw the community talking about this movie so much. And even some people really liked Furiosa too. But they were pulled out of the theater. And then it's like, it's going to be on streaming in a couple weeks. It's like, that's why nobody went. You guys are waiting for it to be on streaming. So I kind of wish we went back to the old method where if you saw a movie at Christmas time, it would be available on TV in the summer,
Yep. Yep.
like 6 months later, because then if you really want to see this movie, you've got to see it in the theater. So yeah, I think they kind of shoot themselves in the foot when they release it in streaming way too quickly afterwards, because like again, I'm going to make that decision a little easier. Like, oh, I could see Furious in the theater, but it'll be on Disney Plus next week, so why
Right.
not?
Right. Also, Academy, get with it, get stunt people its own category. And I think I read somewhere that in 2027, that's what they're doing,
They are trying to do that now.
which about time because
Yeah.
like a SAG award is great for stunt people, and I'm sure that stunts have their own like awards body or award that they give. Maybe they don't. I don't know, but stunts definitely deserves an Academy Award for that, as well as casting, which I'm glad that both of those are eventually getting more love with that. So, um,
hmm
okay, The Fall Guy. What did you think of the movie? Did you enjoy it? Just give me your general thoughts on the movie as a whole.
I would have enjoyed it even if I wasn't in a movie theater full of stunt people. Like it hit all the right marks for me. It was funny. It had a lot of action. It was a little bit ridiculous, and I love that. I love the car chase stuff. I love even just that intro shot, like that intro scene where Ryan Gosling's character is preparing for a stunt and you see him go over that giant drop. And I was like, oh, this is serious. Like, just those moments really sold it for me. And I know maybe I'm a little bit what do you call it, biased
Mhm.
because I'm in it to see all the stuff they are parodying about the movie industry. But I also just thought the movie was solid in my opinion, and that's why I'm a little sad that they pulled it so soon.
I am right there with you. I had a blast watching this movie. I really wish that I would have watched it in theaters just to kind of even validate that, hey, I'm laughing at the same joke that everyone else is laughing at because
Yeah.
I've got my headphones on. I've got my kids on the other side of the aisle. They're just like, why is dad laughing? Like just don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But also there's just a couple moments that I really would have loved to
hmm
see in the theaters. And I guess I'll volley that to you. Can you give me one, two, or like however many scenes in particular from the movie that you're like, wow, this was really cool to see in theaters?
I think just off the top of my head, it's like when Ryan Gosling goes to Australia to film with Emily Blunt's character. She's a
Mhm.
director. They're on the outs. It's very awkward. And he gets into the car to do the stunt on the beach, and they have that camera car in the front with the crane and the camera on it, and he has to keep going faster and faster until he just smashes into that camera. I
Mhm.
felt physical pain.
I can
But
imagine someone like you is just like,
yeah.
no, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, he
Don't
did it.
do
He
it.
did it.
It's like, oh, you're so fired.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool scene to see just because of the action of it and the car chase and the big, like, grandiose scale of that moment. It was cool. Like, I that's something that I really liked seeing in that setting.
That was definitely one of mine as well. Just that first stunt sequence when Ryan Gosling, because he was out of stunt work for a long time, and Emily Blunt, or she's directing this movie, and that causes him to want to come back for that and do more stunt work. But that first stunt sequence with him and the car, and just it's just a basic car flip. Just the mechanics that they're talking about. I love when they like kind of show us or teach us how to do certain things. Not that I would do anything like that on my own, but it's still kind of cool to see some of the behind the scenes stuff and kind of
hmm
just like, hey, let me show you how to do this. Um, One scene in particular that I really liked, um, And this may not be the scene that like people are thinking about when it's like, oh, I want to see something like this in the theaters, but the scene at the club when he takes the drugs and gets into a fight there, um, I can imagine that that would have been a blast to see in theaters because, you know, watching it on a small screen, it's fine. It's cool, but having that, those bright colors kind of just flow over you when you're in the movie theaters, I think that would have been really cool to see. And I'm really bummed that I didn't get that experience.
Yeah. Also the unicorn. Like when they're like, "Are you still tripping?" and he looks and there's a unicorn. Yeah, I think so. Oh, also another great moment was just him and Emily Blunt on the phone, and she's like, "I'm trying to figure out the scene. It's going to be two characters on the phone. Maybe we'll do a split screen." And then it does a split screen. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that's clever. You
Oh,
guys were
that's
clever.
yeah.
Everything was timed perfectly, so they leave the frame at the same time. They enter the frame at the same time. Like that took some choreography."
That was brilliantly made, and I really really enjoyed that part. Obviously, the final stunt sequence where they pretty much pull out all of the stops or like pull everything out for that. Where you've got explosions, you've got car chases, you've got hand-to-hand fighting, you've got falling, you've got helicopters, you've got literally anything that anyone can imagine. I'm sure that that must have been a blast to film. I'm sure that must have been very anxious inducing for everybody there because there's probably a couple sequences there like, hey, if we don't get this, then we're either going to potentially get someone really hurt or we got to reset and we got to start over. And that's probably really sucks. But just the scene of all of them trying to get the, inflatable pad to Ryan Gosling in time to make sure that
Mhm.
he falls down on it. And I guess
That was
spoiler
cool.
talk. I guess
Yeah, yeah.
spoiler talk for a movie that has been out for God, it hasn't even been a year yet. But I thought that sequence was just outstanding, and it was so well choreographed. It was so well shot. The sound as well was just off the charts, and I really wish that I would have gotten a chance to see that in theaters because
Hmm.
I think I would have been on the edge of my seat the whole time watching that.
Yeah, I think it's a good one, and that's why I wish it got more of a fair shake. But who knows where this movie industry is going? Who knows where the movie theater industry is going? I hope that we can learn from examples like when you pull a movie too soon, and I also hope they can learn from their other mistakes. Like this might be a great thing for you to talk about sometime. Morbius was apparently so terrible that it became a meme. But because it became so popular as a meme, the movie theaters were like, we should re-release it. And then nobody saw it for a second time.
Oh yeah, that one's definitely a Sony. Like, come on, you
Come on,
guys.
come
You
on.
could have read the room, man. Just
Yeah,
just read the room.
they didn't
But
get, they were not in on the joke.
they were not. They were in the joke for the wrong reason, unfortunately.
hmm
So, Bridget, any other thoughts on the Fall Guy or anything else that you want to shout out when it comes to your movie theater going experience?
Yeah, well, for one thing, guys, go see The Fall Guy if you haven't seen it. I really enjoy it. Action comedy. There's a tiny bit of romance, not enough to be schmaltzy. Very funny, ridiculous things that happen, and a lot of cool stuff highlighting the film industry. But also, if you're one of those people who complains about unoriginality in Hollywood, please go to the theater. Go on a Tuesday. Go to one of your small independent art cinemas and go see something original. Go see
Mm,
someone's indie film. Go to a film festival. There are ways you can support and help create a better selection of movies. It's by supporting it and by supporting art. So please, if you can do that, do that.
yep. Fully agree 100% with you. I look at some of the movies that have been released this year, and some of my favorites have been the like quote unquote original
hmm
ones. And those are the ones that are struggling the most to find an audience now. I mean, just look at this past box office weekend. We're recording this in mid-April, and the biggest movie on the planet right now is the Minecraft movie.
Oh, yeah, an adaptation of a video game. Yeah, at the beginning of this year, I looked at all the movies that were coming out that were slated to come out, and I just started marking them remake, sequel, action adaptation, or original.
Mhm.
And 90% of them fall into the adaptation or a remake category,
Yep.
which
And
is fodder for my podcast. But for
right.
the pursuit of originality, it's a
Mhm.
little difficult.
Well, and nowadays, I think probably a place where you could find more originality right now is probably television. And
Mm,
that's,
okay,
there's a lot of really good stuff that's on television right
sure.
now. And I would argue that television has probably had a stronger year than movies have had this year. But, TV shows fall victim to this as well. There's adaptations, there's reboots, there's requels of all
Hmm.
kinds of different things. And but yeah, there's definitely the nice thing is that there's so much out there that's kind of a blessing and a curse that there's literally anything out there for everyone. But because of that, all these different things are jockeying for people's very short attention spans,
Yeah.
and that kind of stinks. But hey, it is what it is. The point is though, go to the movie theater, go enjoy something, and expand your horizons a little bit. Try something different when it comes to the movie theaters. Who knows? It could be, your everything everywhere all at once. Because I look at the trailer for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I compare it to the trailer for The Matrix. I was
Hmm.
like, nope, I'm out. What is The Matrix? I don't care. And then when I saw it in theaters, it was like, I do care now. This is definitely something that they're all timers for me now. So, and I'm grateful for that. So, Bridget, thanks so much for your time, and thanks so much for talking to me about the Fall Guy and also your movie theater going experience. Is there anything that you want to plug, and where can the people find you if they want to continue the conversation?
Awesome. Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's just Bridget LaMonica. I also have an Instagram for the podcast, Lights Camera Remake Podcast on Instagram. You can also find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, probably a few others. I forget. But yeah, give us a listen, give us a rate, send us a message, let us know what remakes you hate or love or why. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And I also have a website. It's just bridgetlamonica.com. You can see my cinematography reel. I also write about the film industry. So yeah, I'm excited to have been able to talk with you, Mike, and gush about movies with you, which has been a great experience.
Cool, cool. I appreciate that. I will make sure to put all of your links on the episode notes as well, and then we'll tag you on social media when this comes out. But thanks so much. I had a blast. Thanks for also sticking with this. We've been trying to figure this out for a while, and
Hmm.
you know, a lot of times it's my schedule that doesn't cooperate necessarily. So I thank you so much for sticking with this. So thank you.
I also appreciate you working around my crazy schedule. So thank you.
Of course, of course. Happy to have you on, and thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this episode of Movie Ticket Stub. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website at spdmcrew.com. Check out the other shows on our network. We're really proud of the content that everyone's making. So please check out the other shows and continue to support the crew. And if you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM Crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. And now let's let the credits roll.